industry. I don't know how you handle. I've been talking in the first part about long nights and how that affects people. But let's get a little bit personal now. Let's go to you, Jackie. Take us back to the early days of your music, where it began, so that we can build up from there. The innocence of doing your music.
It basically started as this little girl in a corridor at home listening to music. There's just always those melodies that piqued my interest when it came like to radio, and I kept trying to sing to imitate what it is that I had on radio. So I would sing in the corridors at home. I loved singing in the corridors because when the doors were closed, there's this effect in the studio called reverb, the echo, and I loved the sound of my voice every time I had the echo. And I just kept singing, but I never considered myself a singer. So when this competition, Popstars Coca-Cola comes to, it was in South Africa first. I took interest because I looked at the level, the kind of people that was singing, and they had voices, and these guys were eliminated, and I kept thinking, this is so unfair.
How old were you then?
I was like 16, 17.
Very young.
I'm like, this is so unfair. These guys can actually sing, but the competition was so tight to a point whenever the camera would pan like to the judges would no longer just consider the voices. They would consider the look. They would consider the attitude. They would consider things like even when the contestants didn't know. That's when I realized like these guys are looking for the whole package. And then finally there's boom, the advert. They're like, Popstars is coming to East Africa. And I'm like, okay, maybe I can try. And of course, like I knew it was completely impossible. Not that I don't believe in myself, but you know, I was so much at home. I used not to go out. Unless my sister or her husband chose to take me out. When I started, I would go to the shop, and I was back because I was so busy raising my nephew. I call him my son, Marvin. I was so busy raising him. I literally wanted to steal him from my sister. So that was my life, but I never knew the life outside home, outside the fence, outside the gate. That's how I was brought up. I never ever knew life outside my home.
Your home, yeah.
It is home, school, home. And in between there, it was where if my dad or my parents ever took me, that was the only thing that I knew. So this competition comes, and I ask my sister, and surprisingly, Sissy's like, yeah, but you know you can't go through. And she was laughing about it because she also saw the level.
Yes.
The vocal ability like of people and stuff like that. And I was like, well, if I know I can't go through, but let me just try.
Yes.
And that was it. I got to find out the judges who was there, these guys were from like these big record labels, but I was most interested in the producer who was going to handle the group. And I got to find out that the producer was going to be there for the auditions. So I decided Okwetega. Well, that's what they call it in Uganda.
Did you get permission from your parents?
No, my mom didn't. My mom
Nobody
would die.
knew?
It's just my sister who knew. My dad, I didn't tell him anything because by that time, you know, I found you speaking about something. There's different traumas. By that time, I was not living with my dad. My parents had separated. So I decided to Okwetega. You know how you like when there's a rat and then you keep dropping stuff like Mujinas. That's what I was like, you know what? I'm not going to go through with Zwaibala, Anthony Morgan, and like all those people. I'm not going to go through, probably I won't go through with them. But my eyes were on Steve Jean. I was like, Steve Jean, because I heard his production, I heard his songs, and I'm like, this guy. And I said it from when I was a kid, that like when I started listening, understanding music, I want to work with two producers. I want to work with Steve Jean. I want to work with Timbaland.
You were that focused?
Yes, and I'm still stalking Timbaland. By the way, I sent my first message on TikTok, so I have 2 messages to go. He hasn't replied, but I stalk all his.
We shall get it. We shall get
it. So I was like, Steve Jean. The very first song I auditioned with was Fever. And that's Steve's song. And the way he sang it, was perfect. For me, there was different things I could hear with that song. And I decided I'm going to sing it the way my small mind
makes it. Yeah.
And that was it. And I remember, I don't even know how God did it. I'm auditioning right in front of the judges, and that's when he walks in and I'm singing his song. And he walks in to speak to one of the judges.
Well.
And yes, and he just looked up like this. But of course, Steve being Steve Jean,
yes,
he looked up. I was just happy that he took 2 seconds. But he probably doesn't even remember that audition.
Yes.
And he looked back down and continued whispering something to the judges and walked out. Mm-hmm. But I was like, I got him.
Yes.
That was
strategic. You're a planner.
That was it. I was like, he will look for me because I knew there's an interview of his that I had him speaking, and he was looking for talent. And I was like, something just told me he will find me.
Okay.
Yeah.
So at that time, you are young, innocent, clean.
You know?
You had never drunk wine.
I had tried by then.
When was the first time you tried and how?
My senior FOVAC. Mm-hmm. My brother-in-law, he was like, you should, because I always used to go out with them.
Yes.
I wanted to know what the nightlife was like. Mm-hmm. And they would always go out with my sister, and then just this one time, I don't even know how he read my mind. I was like, I wanted to know, like, what takes you out and brings you back at like 4
in the morning. Yeah.
And then we went out. Then it's like, you come, try. And then he gave me, it was V&A. That was the very first.
I remember V&A, yes.
And it was sweet compared to what people drink.
Yes.
That one is like, what's it called? Sugar? Like Fanta?
Yes.
Should I say?
Yes.
It was sweet. And I took like a little bit of it, but I didn't even take much notice because it tasted weird on my tongue. Mm-hmm. I didn't take much notice of the drink. What I took notice of was the fact that I see bottles coming. I don't know what the content is, but people come like they're seated like this. The next thing people are, hyper. And then then I'm trying to figure out, because by nature that's how I am. I'm trying to figure out, so how do you move from this? Like I knew, yes, people get drunk, but I never knew exactly what the process is like or what happens after people get high. So that's what I saw. So that's when I tasted alcohol. I couldn't even finish it.
Did you like it?
No.
You were like, what is this?
No, well, I did it. I was like, well, I can take, I think it was a quarter bottle, but I think I took the equivalent of like 3 bottle tops, 3 covers.
Yes.
And I was like, this is not my thing.
It's not your thing.
Yeah.
And did you ever think at any point in your life at that time, even by the time you went for this audition, did you ever think at any point in your life you'd ever be an addict or in that category of people?
How? I mean, I went to good schools and they taught about such things.
Yes.
So there's no way that I knew about drugs. I knew about addiction. So there's no way that I could become an addict.
And it's very interesting that even me myself, if they ever even asked me, can you drink? I would be like, never. To see that I ended up being full-blown, very interesting. But anyway, so how you audition and then you get it? And
then I get it. Then I first stage, second stage, third stage, and stuff like that.
How was it during the process? Were you feeling the attention? Was it normal to you?
Nobody ever paid attention to me.
Even when you joined the group, how did the Blue 3 start?
When I came out as a winner, that's the only time I got attention.
Okay.
But I personally believe even in the group, the attention was never on me. Not that I wanted it, I was happy.
I think a friend of mine disagrees.
Not having attention. Imagine being in a group that like they've pumped money into this group to come out, and you're the happy one being behind.
Yes.
I was, so because by nature I'm an introvert.
But I'm going to show you a message from a friend who, when he saw that you're coming on the show, he said that Chandiru was my person in that group.
The strangest thing is I was happy being in the background in the group. I'm not going to lie about that.
Okay.
But the only thing is, every time it was my turn to step up, I went 300%. So
you are compensating for...
I'm by nature, I'm a person that when I'm given the platform, even if it's for 5 seconds, it is touched down. I make use of it, then I go back and hide.
I remember I told you the first time I saw you, you were doing the Burn song.
Yeah.
And Josh was redoing it. And you were there shy, quiet, standing. I'm like, Bambi. Eh?
That is.
But then on stage, you were different.
Yes.
It was like an animal in you came out.
That's the reason as to why I purely understand when Beyonce says, off stage she's Beyonce, on stage she's Sasha.
She's Sasha.
Yes, I totally understand it.
Very interesting. So now you get onto the limelight, Blue 3 is hitting. Now you are taking a little bit of wine or not yet?
Wine. The wines would come in and stuff like that. Of course, it comes in also. You can't be seated at a table with like the biggest stars in the country or with very important people and you're on a random Fanta or Mirinda or something. Nada. It's not happening. So you try to figure out a way in, and slowly by slowly I got to start like figuring out what am I comfortable with? Am I comfortable with the beer? Am I comfortable with this? But something that can keep me, should I say, that can make me not feel out of place or look out of place. That's how I took it.
And you see, I even talked about that earlier in the show, that because of the industry you're in, it is normalized and it is part of the package.
Yes.
And it has to be. So anyhow, now you're just taking a little bit, no problems. So what happened? When did the problems begin?
Way much later. You know, with stardom, imagine this is a 16 or 17-year-old person just catapulted into the world. Boom. Like
the limelight, yeah.
My mom doesn't know about it yet. We're still keeping, my sister is doing everything possible. I'm so glad my mom is not a social media person because I would be dead. Today, no, she just hears from people, other people hear, then they call her.
Yes.
And like she didn't know anything, but I just left it to my sister and I said, I need you to do me a favor. You find a way to tell her. So when I went through, my sister was like, don't worry, Jackie, I gotcha. I'll figure out what to do. So imagine I'm moving from that kind of upbringing and I'm thrown into this huge pond of you're meeting so-and-so, you're meeting nameless, you're meeting so-and-so, like all at the same time, and you have to adjust. And your upbringing is very different from what...
Conservative upbringing.
Yes, from what like the entire world expects from you. And then on top of that, you're moving from being, you're an introvert, then you bump into things like relationships. Now that's different.
How did the relationships affect you?
They are literally like 70% of the reason as to why I went through what I went through.
Okay.
Yeah, so that nonsense is love jirabe duka.
Jirabe duka. See it run.
For those of you who have the ring, keep it on.
Okay.
Please.
So for you, it wasn't the natural progression like me. You see, for me, I started drinking. I liked it. Then I progressed to add smoking. Then it became worse, tolerance.
I didn't like the drinking. The alcohol, by the way, is not my thing. I do take alcohol. That one, I'm not going to lie about it.
Yes.
I do take alcohol, but basically I did it more out of like force, like
to fit
pressure.
in, like you say.
I have to fit in. I have to fit in, and that's why I did it.
Okay.
So I would take, but I was the kind of person that you would put me right next to a bass bin in Angenois at that time, and I would sleep. Like Lillian would look at me and say, Jackie,
in all this noise.
I'm talking about a bass bin. You know that huge speaker? And I'm out cold. Like so that was me. And just because I had to be out once in a while to show that I can...
You can be, or you should be there.
Yes. So it's all that. Then you get to bump into people. You know, there's different kind of influences you get. Remember, I wasn't prepared for the kind of world I got into. I didn't know anything about the entertainment industry. And then people lie to you. You're a young girl. And they tell you things that it is that nobody has ever told you. You know, I didn't have much of that adolescence, like life, where you get to date guys that are young. No, I didn't have that because, like I told you, I was kept. I was so protected. So you get into this whole, yes, I have all the cautions. There's things that I know about, that I believe I know about, but I have just never practically gone through them. The same way there's physics paper 1, paper 2,
Yes.
then there's the practical. I never ever had the practical. So that is where the issue like came in from. So it, much as that issue came in, it was so many things that also developed that I picked from my childhood.
Okay.
That I got to see later on. But I took lessons because I happen to be a person that I keep, how can I explain that? Like, I record certain things, whether they are traumatic to me or whether they're extremely good. My brain stores certain things. Out of 100%, I will pick maybe like 40 that I believe.
What you need, you pick what you're selective.
Yes, I'm very selective.
Yes.
And somehow what I choose to pick affects certain decisions that I make in future. Then I get to realize, okay, I made this decision because of this small thing I picked 10 years ago.
So you get into now all this life.
Yes.
Cultural shock because you've changed from one dimension to another.
Yes.
Then you also mentioned that relationships caused you problems.
Yeah.
What was the turning point?
Like turning from
being the good, innocent musician, vocalist.
I have never turned to become a bad person.
Not a bad person.
A bad girl.
But to turn into the addict that you became eventually. I got into
a relationship. Okay, let me tell you this about the way I was brought up.
Okay.
Am I allowed to speak? Well, I don't
Feel
know what
free.
my...
This is uncensored.
I lost my virginity by force.
Okay. At 17?
No.
At a child?
At a very late stage.
Oh.
Because I grew up knowing the first person you sleep with is supposed to be
the person you
your
get married
husband.
to.
Like, if I don't even want to tell you what age I lost it at. But all his friends now, because of the fame and everything, they kept telling him, no, we saw her with Chameleon, we saw her with so and so. She's definitely, you understand? They kept telling, because there's somebody that I had seen like since I was 15 or so, but you see a person once in a while, he writes you one letter and that's it. So I knew that's the person I'm going with for life. So his friends, because he went to study in London, so his friends kept saying, we've seen her with so and so. She was with Peter Miles, she was with Menshan, she was with so and so, and she's definitely sleeping with them. And then he is like, one time he just comes back at a very late stage, by the way, and it's like, why is it that you don't want
you do it with others, but not me?
Yes. And I'm like, it's not true. What you're hearing is not true.
Okay.
This is the business that I'm in. I sit with these people. Yes, there's no problem with that. I sit with them. But if people are telling you this is ABCD, do they have proof? Until, like, I was under so much pressure and I was threatened so much by him, I didn't want to lose. I considered him my husband to be. I didn't want to lose him. And then when finally it happened, he apologized. He said, Jackie, I'm sorry. And I was like, leave me the fuck alone. Those are the exact words I used. Just
so you
leave me.
You threw him out after that?
I took time, of course, but my relationship was different with him after that.
Okay.
Because I felt there was no trust at all. And that was
and all that time you were still engaging the public as normal, like nothing is happening?
As a normal person, because we were trained to do that. The kind of training we went through, these are like international coaches, voice coaches. We were trained to do our own makeup. In case you go to a random island and there's no makeup artist, no hair person, we were trained to do that. We were trained to leave home with swollen eyes or in the worst state, but appear on stage like nothing. Like
you're the happiest person alive.
Like you have everything you need. We were trained. That thing traumatized me for like the longest time ever.
Yes, and that's what I was talking about, PTSD.
Yes.
Trauma. There's a lot of trauma which people don't see, People
don't believe that even celebrities go through anything like that.
I know. And also, like you mentioned, they saw you with all these artists. They presumably show some kind of behavior, and so there is no way that anyone can believe that you're not being promiscuous.
Exactly. And that broke my heart so much, because I believe in certain foundations in a relationship, things like trust. Like, I can end up loving you just because I trust you.
Yes.
Now that's as hard as I am. Like, you can be a friend of mine for like the longest time ever, and then if at all we even decide to date, for example, you may keep telling me, I love you, I love you, I love you. I'll never reply that I love you. But the day I tell you I love you too, just know that I've taken the longest time.
Yes.
Considering. Because there's people who can decide to tell me, oh, Jackie, I love you. And I'm like, oh, that's so sweet.
Okay.
So that
is the normal. It's like saying, how are you? I'm fine.
Like, I need to feel it for me to be able to respond to that. So when he apologized to me, I'm like, you know what? You've got what
you wanted. So.
And for me, it was, he didn't know like how much it had taken from me, but from me to him, because I'm a person, naturally I say I don't die in my own movie.
Yes.
I was like, you had to put me to this level just to show you the truth.
Yes.
Just to prove. Why do I have to prove myself to you? Why is my word not enough?
So now the trauma is now even, they have added to the childhood trauma.
Added to my other issues that I've gone through in life, like when I was growing up. And that has happened to me, so I become much more enclosed.
Okay.
When it comes to like emotions and feelings and stuff like that. And then later on, you know, this person got to be known, say in public. That's a problem, that something that comes with this whole thing. He got to be known, then now the girls are flocking him and things like that. And
you're no longer an issue now.
Yeah. I'm not an issue. I mean, what do you expect? So you let the person enjoy.
Okay.
Enjoy what.
So you moved on now.
No, I by the way, I don't know how to dump people.
You stayed and shared with
No, you just get to feel that we are strained.
Okay.
And then you yourself, you
push
That's
away.
how I do my thing.
Right.
Yes.
So now you're heartbroken, all these things adding up.
All these things adding up. You leave. Then, of course, you leave. Then you go. You try. 1, 2, here. And then there's obviously that time when you get to realize that people are with you just for the sake of your name.
Yes.
You understand? I'm a person that doesn't like my personal life out there. So I'm trying so hard to protect the people that I love. Because I already saw it from the time people got to know this boy. The girls are now all over him.
Yes.
You get. So I do what
you gave him value.
Yes. I gave him value. Not in a bad way, but it's the truth anyway.
Yeah,
it's Sunday.
well,
I lie only on Sunday.
You're giving us value.
Exactly. So it's that was it.
Yes.
And then I'm trying to protect what it is that I have. Like at one point, I have somebody, I have a friend, I have somebody, but this person gets to a point, they start well, then they get to a point where they're more interested in being known as my partner. And the thing about people out there is, for example, when it comes to the girls, they will have this thing like, why is that girl, why is Jackie Chandiru, or why is, for example, Cindy or Lillian or Juliana, why is she with that person?
Yes.
Let me go and find out. That's how it is.
Or prove that I am also...
No, not that, well, prove. For some it can be to prove, because they're like, of course I'm better than so and so and so and so. So why? So they go in, and what do you expect? These are men.
Yes.
A man is always going to be a man.
I'm a man.
Yes.
But you've categorized all of us.
No, the thing is, the thing is, it depends also, like, if people are different.
Yes.
I'm not going to tell you that at the time when I was dating, that somebody didn't pass by, I'm like, damn.
Yes, true.
Of course it was there, but with a man, it's different.
We are physical beings.
You are physical people.
Yeah.
I asked somebody sometime that I was dating, why do men cheat? And the person told me, Jackie, I will be with you right now, and I am satisfied as hell.
Yes.
But when I walk out the door, I'll see a girl with brown thighs, and it's like I've done nothing. And I had to accept that.
Yes.
So a man will always be a man.
True.
For women, I believe, are slightly different, but they're also
the emotional beings.
Yes, the emotional bit. I happen to be the kind of person, the day I ever take my clothes off for you, I'm going to hold you. I won't cling onto you, but I believe that is an achievement.
Yes.
Because I don't do that stuff.
Okay. So now you're devastated.
I bump into somebody.
You bump into somebody. Then how does this new chapter begin?
I bump into this person that I personally believe is going down. Like, it's going down. But a lot of men, a big percentage of men are liars.
Okay.
So whenever, I will say this to the women, when a man has got baby mamas, that is one thing that you cannot, how can I call it? You will not have the intention to erase it, because if you're in love, you're willing to help.
Okay.
Lend a helping hand and be that small figure. Like you don't have to take the mother's place, because that can never happen.
Yes.
So you bump into somebody like that. Life changes, for example. There's things that you start doing together, but men are liars.
Okay.
They are liars, and I get lied to, and then things that happening in that at that time that I had seen previously in my childhood in different homes that I stayed in.
Yes.
Because my parents separated, so I was in different homes. And at one point, I remember asking my mom, why do things like this happen? And she said, one day you will understand. My mother is a Muganda. There's this saying in Buganda, when you see something, put water in your mouth and...
Forget about it.
No, you shut up. You don't say anything.
Okay.
So it's more like the way I was brought up was very traditional, should I say. So I chose to keep quiet because I did not, much as it had leaked outside to the public, I did not want them to know that inside my home was breaking.
Okay.
And even in the English language, they said, not wash your dirty linen.
In public.
In public.
Yeah.
So I stayed with my dirty linen.
Yes.
And I bore everything it is that I had to bear.
So are you using now to cope with that?
I didn't. I wasn't using.
You are clean still.
There was things now that kept happening, incidents that happened that happened that happened within the time of the relationship that led me to an injury.
Okay.
Yes.
You are not beaten, I hope.
You're beating who? Jackie Chandiru. Well, people have fights.
Yes.
Yes. That's what I can say.
So
those incidents led to an injury. And one of the things that I was told by a doctor is, you can correct this. By the way, I happen to be, not even by the way, I am the performer.
Okay.
In this country. I don't think anybody can ever perform like me. I do not perform to show curves. I do not perform to show energy and what I perform to satisfy the optical nutrition and the optical hunger. That is the way I perform.
Okay. So
with the way that I perform, I could go, because I'm at a point where I'm doing about 6 shows or so, 4 to 6 shows in a night, and I'm earning. There is no way in the country at that time you would mention the top 4 artists and my name isn't
not there. Yes.
It was impossible. It could not happen. How? And with the way that I perform, the pain grew.
It kept growing.
Yes. And then I'm told you can do surgery, but as of now, because the pain is so intense, try this. But the prescription can be something very small while you think about, because if you do a surgery, there's a 50-50 chance that you'll be able to walk after.
Okay.
And then I'm thinking, how do you tell me that I want to walk? Actually, walking is not the problem. Perform,
yes.
That was my problem. How can you tell me that? So it started there.
So it started that way?
Yes.
With, are you free to disclose it?
Pethidine. Yes.
You know, I fear pethidine.
You should.
I fear it with all my heart.
Oh, you should.
And I've seen, there's even a clip, I think, which I sent to you of a gentleman who I'm trying to look for to bring in as well.
You need to bring him in.
Because it is scary. There is a sufferer whom I work with, someone in recovery, is a doctor.
Addict, yeah.
And he mentioned something. He said that the pleasure from pethidine is 99 points higher than the pleasure of sex.
I don't even think it knows the pleasure of sex.
Yes.
That's what I can tell you.
It is way beyond.
It's something that you, like, I cannot even explain to you. I personally believe that because you're a recovering addict from alcohol, I believe that pethidine is worse than that.
So how do you, the first time it was given to you, you were able to perform properly, walk properly?
You don't even understand. The first time that I got the shot, first and foremost, the pain disappeared immediately. But you see, within that time, remember, there's things that are happening in my life.
Yes.
You understand? So I was already suffering from chronic insomnia.
Yes.
I slept fully, satisfactorily. I slept. I didn't have one dream. I didn't have... it was orgasmic sleep.
You woke up fresh like a newborn baby.
Fresh.
That is day one.
That is day one. And I am like, whatever this is.
You didn't even know what it was?
No, like I saw the ampule, but I didn't really take much because I trusted my doctor.
Yes.
I didn't really take much on it. And I'm like, this is it.
So innocent you wake up and you're like, wow.
I am fresh. I'm in studio. I'm this. Ideas are flowing. Everything, Chris. That was it. And there was no pain.
So how long did it take for you to go for the next?
Oh, this is just the first one. So it took long.
Yes.
It took long.
So the effect lasted for months?
No, not for months. It took some good. But remember, I'm doing like 6 shows. Between 4 to 6 shows in a day.
Yes.
And I'm working 7 days a week or 6 because it would get to start. Some days I'm like, give these guys back their money. I can't. I'm not sleeping.
Okay.
Because I would go probably sometimes like 3-4 days without sleep, but then I black out like on the 5th day.
Because people have this misunderstanding and think that sometimes that the day you start is now the day you're going to continue. And therefore, because somebody told me I did it once and I'm okay.
No. You see, the doctor warned me about it.
Yes.
You understand? He warned me, and actually he told me he cannot give me more than 3 ampules of it. But he said it would be ample time for me to consider
what to do next.
Because he would not advise. He told me about how it's addictive and all that stuff. But I'm like, geez, I went to Navisunsa Girl, like I know this stuff.
I know this stuff, yeah.
I know about addiction, and that's how it was.
So let's go to what made you get the second shot. I
still wasn't sure about the procedure.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you went to the doctor and said, give me the other thing.
I'm thinking about it. So when I said that, I came back in like I had severe pain as well that day. I was like, I'm still thinking about it. That was it. So he gave me the second one. And he's like, I really don't want to give you
this thing.
Because the doctors don't go past
3
ampules. I really don't want to give you the third one.
Yes.
Please and please. And he kept checking on me. It's like, have you thought about it? Then, of course, I would ask him some questions here and there. But now, the questions, once in a while, I would do research, then to find out about the procedure. Then I would have questions to keep him with hope that what?
Yes.
I'm paying attention to this. But I would get the questions just kumutereka. But the truth was I wasn't going to do the surgery. Yeah.
So now you've taken the second shot.
The second one.
Continue. I'm happy. About to fall off my seat.
I'm happy with what I feel. It is still the same thing.
Yes.
And I do my best to take some time before I come back for the third one. And he had refused to give me the third one.
So this was in a space of how long?
I was going, it was probably like about a couple of weeks or so.
Okay.
Because I did my best to get to that level where I felt the pain was really uncomfortable. I could no longer sit like straight up.
Yes.
Yeah.
So when you get the third shot, what happened?
It took a lot. Actually, I don't even think he gave me the full ampule for the third shot. He told me, I'm not going to administer this drug to you anymore. And I'm like, you can't do that. You're my doctor. You're supposed to
do what.
And he's like, if it means I let you go as my patient,
you blackmailed him.
I will. That's
Should
what
we say that's the same thing Michael Jackson was doing to his...
No, Michael Jackson had money, like
he also
money.
had money.
Yes, but now this is the person whose oath came first.
Okay. He was one of the good doctors.
He was one of the good doctors. Okay. And indeed, when I called the fourth time, he's like, I'm sorry. I can refer you to other doctors who can help you, but I cannot work as your personal doctor anymore. So he let me go. And I'm like, okay, so you think like you're so holy than thou. I'll get it. And
but he was right.
He was right. That you get to figure that out like way later.
Let's take a breather.
Mind Matters, the weekly check-in with Bill Bekunda on Stream UG Radio.
I'm going to die.
obulamu buno munababula binayenga muliro amasanyu kuba nabo ngenda ngana ye munababula binesibabuza ntambudde kimala numirira bulamu bwange ntambudde kimala Gino okubeera wenti si musango gwange mulaba bwebingandi wenti nkaba ngabe mijomo mbalaba baseka kwenjagala nga lata guno mukwano nkula ki nganda byenze likoyagala wakuzanyisa. Nga tusensebula kyebayita omuziki buli wamu n'emikwano nga tuli steady byatandika mpola with frisky awo ne tuchatantya with everything nice effortlessly nti ndibeera naawe she did reply relentlessly nenemerako namugamba mumatira bisoko koyenti oyo pokopoko bigambo byange tebimukwatako naijazwa itaji sibyaliko ulikoyagala wakuzanyisa. Tell me how come every time that I walk away. Tell me how come ulikoyagala wakuyisa bubiri. Tell me how come ulikoyagala wakuyina
We are right back with Chandiru, Jackie Chandiru. I'm not going to repeat what she has said, but we have gotten to the sad part of this story. Mm-hmm. She has taken 3 shots of pethidine, and let's get the rest from you, because I think we are all on our toes now.
Well, yes. I have taken the 3rd shot of pethidine, and I like...
You like what it's doing to you?
What it's doing. I like what I feel. And the doctors let me go. So I'm like, it's okay. That's not a problem. Because I thought the issue was money. I offered money. He didn't want to know. So I said, fine. I got people who actually want money. And then I got suppliers. And that's where it
now went out of hand. For how long?
It didn't go out of hand immediately.
Yes.
Because I was too scared of, I also get so scared when I feel too nice.
Yes.
So I was too scared of the very, very good feeling. So I was like, I'm going to do this thing a little. And of course, I still had it at the back of my mind that it's addictive. But you see, from the first time it was addictive, like, boom, it's addictive.
Yes.
Then I always say addiction is spiritual, by the way.
Yes, it is.
Then it kept the volume just kept getting lower, addictive, like to a whisper.
Yes.
That was it.
It was doing its job.
It was doing its job.
So, do you remember when you first realized that it's a little bit too much, and by that time, how much were you doing?
I didn't. It's everybody else realized before I did.
Before you did?
Yeah. I got to realize like way later. I don't know how many years into it. I was even in rehab.
And how would you react when somebody tells you have a problem?
Oh, it's going down. I happen to be Lukbara. So I give it to you the way it is. Not even argue. I give it to you properly.
I think we all have that. For a person suffering a substance.
It's strange. Like there's anger that you have.
Yes.
You just don't understand why people don't understand why.
Yeah, exactly.
You are comfortable with that substance. Actually, you don't even look at it like a substance.
Yes.
You believe that these people are just against you. They don't care. Now, mine was a physical, is actually a health problem. And I'm saying I'm treating myself.
Yes.
Because I have to be able to make the money it is that I'm going to give you. So why are you saying that this is a problem when it is helping me? It's that weird chain.
Yeah, true.
So you just never ever take it.
So you woke up when you were in rehab now?
Yeah, I was.
That's when you realize, okay.
It's like the 3rd time I think.
The 3rd time in rehab.
Yeah.
That is after how many years?
Actually, not even the 3rd time I was in rehab. It's when I was taken out of the country.
To the US?
For surgery.
Well,
no, not to the US. I was taken out of the country for surgery, and something happened at that point, as in when I got to realize that literally everybody expected me to die. And I happened to be the kind of person, like I told you in the start, actually I'm meant to add Schwarzenegger to my, like, that's it.
Want the tabloids on you at that time?
Yes, and that was the other painful part of it, because they kept posting, rest in peace, Jackie Chandiru. I'm like, you motherfuckers really want me dead.
Calm down.
You said I could talk, but that's the truth.
Please feel
that's
free,
what I felt. Like, you guys are like, you really, really want me dead.
Yes.
To that point that you're able to tell the whole world, rest in peace, Jackie Chandiru. Like, who are you?
Who are you? True. You
are not God to pass judgment on when someone is supposed to die, or like, just because I've gone quiet, what does that mean? So it kept like hitting me. I'm sorry, I use French. I call it French. But at that point, with the anger it is that I have, that's what I felt.
Yes, true.
Like I was that angry, and I just said, you have no right.
Yes.
To do this to me. I happen to be a human being. I'm going through something, but why are you literally making mockery out of this?
And they always seem to do that.
Because they get the views, they get the likes, they get the following from things like that. You know, Ugandan people don't like things that are going good.
Well, yeah.
I can give you an example of Meghan Markle. There's like 4 different podcasts dedicated specifically to her negatives. And when you look at the subscribers, when you look at the views, when you look at the comments, They are enormous, huge numbers.
Yes.
And then you wonder, what do you think she goes through when she's at home?
Exactly.
When she tries to do something to try and control the damage that has been done by a small mistake she made, you will capitalize on that. And what do you think she goes through?
Must be terrible.
It's something that is completely different. Now, for her, hers is not even substance abuse. She doesn't do that. But guess what? She's in a different sector of life. She has to deal with being a Sussex. She has to deal with the royal family, to deal with various things, while putting into consideration that maybe when she was growing up, she always wanted to be somebody, but she never actually had the chance. Now when she has the chance, maybe she's making mistakes.
Yes.
But the whole world is turning against her.
Exactly.
Same with the person that is using the substance.
How does it feel? Yeah. I mean, I know it's not easy to put in words, but
it's
how does
isolating. It's
Did you try
degrading.
to commit suicide?
6 times I did.
I'm not going to ask what methods you are using because
I can
I
briefly.
might be
encouraging other
some
people. Yes,
giving them ideas
they were all methods which were 150% meant to work. See, that's the reason as to why I mentioned earlier that this thing is very spiritual. I personally believe that God wanted me to stay
alive and do something.
Because every time, like, I attempted the suicide and I got out of it and I realized, why is my head aching so much? Because if you're in the afterlife, you're not supposed to feel pain.
Yes.
In heaven, you're not supposed to feel pain. In hell, you're supposed to be hot. You're supposed to be burning. Like, that's the mentality that I grew up with. But I'm not feeling hot. I have a headache. And then you pinch yourself and you're like,
I'm still
bollocks.
here.
I'm still here.
Did you ever think you were going to get better?
No. It got to a point with the public opinion and all the opinion like around me. I was like, it's much, actually, I continued the abuse because I'm like, since you all want me dead,
let me die
properly. Even when I come out like of rehab and I'm like, no, I'm not going to use this. And then still the stories keep coming. Oh, yo, yemufu, taina magezi, she's mad. And the weird thing, I hate being lied about. It's something I can't stand.
Yes.
I guess it's the way I was brought up.
Okay.
And then they're like, aliko njaga. Njaga yakola chino njaga. I'm like,
yeah, we had cocaine, heroin, I don't know.
No, at least those ones came in even later. Now for me, I was put on the level of njaga. You understand?
Yes.
I was on njaga. Then later they're like, Neda kachigeja daina muko sente yawadeku buunga. And we're talking about serious bloggers who, when they talk, even when it's a lie,
everyone believes them or follows.
That is it. Because they have to talk about Jackie Chandiru at that point. And that bothered me so much because I explained, I knew that I'm helping myself. I have got a problem with my back pain, and this is a painkiller. So I was hiding under the umbrella of this is something to help me with my pain. But people are creating all these stories around that pushed me more into using.
That's really sad. You're just confirming everything I was talking about, how it feels, but the bigger problem is being in the public eye.
Oh, I hate it.
Did you think that you'd ever want to get back into the public eye again?
No.
So how did you, let's talk about the recovery. When did things change? And what encouraged you to get back into what almost destroyed you?
The attitude, the natural attitude that I have of not backing down, and also the being the fighter it is that I am.
Yes.
And when I was in secondary school, I loved debate. And I loved debating because I loved proving people wrong.
Yes.
It's just something natural. It's in me. Like, I always prayed, Michael Jackson, the late, has a name, but I've learned so much from him. However, I can pick what I've learned from him and make another version of him.
Yes.
And I can perform with him. I've always been like that. So that natural intuition that I have to survive and to be able to stand and say, you are saying that was number one. Actually, that was number two, because number one was God. Within that time, I made a relationship
With God.
with God. We quarreled every single day. Every single time I attempted suicide and he saved me, we quarreled. He said nothing to me.
Yes.
I told him mouthfuls. But he just didn't leave me. It got to a point where I told him, I am a child who is useless. Just let me go. Take me away from this shame, from people just choosing to make stories, and I don't even have the power to speak and tell them the truth. There is no way they are going to understand where I am coming from or the things I have gone through that have led to this, because everything is intertwined. All the people know is it's addiction. They know one thing, njaga. They don't know, but something led to this, led to that, led to this. Then I found comfort somewhere, somehow in that drug. They don't give me the chance to explain that.
And it's the same that is happening to other people.
And it's happening to other people. There's a person, because like with everything, fast forward, with everything, there's people that I speak to. I actually call them, I call them patients, because I don't know what to call them.
Yes.
There's people that I speak to. There's a girl who is fighting with the fact that her father has abused her for 10 years, from the time she was, I think, 12. And the father was doing that. And there's nothing that she can say, because the one time she tried to find a way to nicely tell the mother the beating it is that she got. And from that time, she became the black sheep.
Yes. And then she has to suffer for that.
And from that time, she cannot go into a relationship. She cannot date somebody, because the person will say just one small word that the father mentioned, and it's a trigger, and immediately she starts getting seizures, and people are like, oyo mularu.
Yeah.
But what they don't know is there's just small things that send triggers. She's not yet healed.
True.
From that. So there's just no way that she can explain it to people, but she chose to speak to me. So it's the same thing I was going through. I didn't know how to explain to people, because I didn't want to air my dirty. Well, it wasn't my dirty laundry, but it was the other side of me, because we were trained to be picture perfect.
True. That's what celebrities are supposed to
Whoever thought Jay-Z could cheat on Beyonce? I mean, that is the image that is put there.
Yes.
So that's what it
Are
should be.
you over it? Over everything that happened? Because of course you're over the addiction, because it's, it's put in its place. You're now living a different life, a new way of living. But then in this new life,
yes, how
are you dealing with the traumas of the using as well? Because now there are traumas from childhood, from when you had grown up into a young adult, then from the addiction, now you're in the phase of sustained recovery. How are you dealing with it?
I am honestly still dealing with the trauma of using, because I am still paying the price.
You're still paying the price?
Up till now. And I think I will pay till the Almighty decides that, the price is fully paid.
Okay.
I don't have a child of my own because of that.
Because of that.
And there is nothing that I believe there's nothing that gives a person fulfillment in life, a reason for them to go to work, to wake up in the morning, to hustle, if they're just doing it for themselves. I mean, for me, I can live for myself here now.
Yes.
I'm good to go. But where does that leave the legacy of Jackie Chandiru? That is something I'm trying to cope with. I believe I'm coping with it because I pray.
Yes.
Every single day. Without fail, I am able to speak to God, usually between 1:30 to 4 in the morning every single day.
Yes.
And I just have a conversation with him.
In a better way now.
Yeah, I'm like, what's up?
What's next?
Yeah, I'm like, what's up? I'm like, I know you're still mad at me, but it's okay.
Yes.
It's okay. I understand. And then I tell him, I'm going through this, I'm going through that. if there's any sign you can send, it's this. Then I tell him all my problems. But I accepted that because even in English, they say, in literature, you do not throw a stone at a glass house. You don't throw stones when you live in a glass house yourself. So our bodies are considered, in Christianity, are considered to be the temple of God. So if you're going to damage your body, if you're going to misuse your body, you must pay
the price
for misusing God's temple, because we are created in his image. We are meant to be able to exude his character, to exude the way he wants us to live. So if you mess that up, then you pay. It's the same way when you steal. The Muslims are harsher. It's the Sharia law. If it is the hand that makes you steal, do away with the hand. But you see, it makes sense. Find a way to do away with something it is that is going to make you sin or to go against the person, your creator. So I still do suffer from the consequences, but I accepted that I am supposed to pay the price for the mistakes I made.
That gives you reason to continue.
Yes, it is a debt that I still have, and I'm definitely going to pay to the full.
And I'm really grateful that you have really put all your time, energy, a lot of resource in, even waking you up in your relaxation time, chill time, to come here. But we can't stop because things are getting pretty bad.
Whatever we go through is more or less like a silent killer.
Yes.
I consider pethidine a silent killer, actually depression, because I personally believe a lot of times people don't even realize when they're depressed or when there is something that is tugging at the back of their minds. There's I listen and watch a lot of documentaries because I need to learn certain things. I try to learn about, like, say, serial killers and people. I need to understand how people think.
Yes.
They get the certain people who go through trauma and then their brains decide, because it's too much for them to hide it. There's schizophrenia. There's people who have multiple personality because at a certain point, there's certain triggers in life that bring out a certain version of them that is not good. So they choose to hide and not to think about that pain. And that is something that we have a very, very long way to go through. In Uganda, you'll tell someone, I'm stressed. Somebody will say, Kachirabeni. Ovuddeko otwena magezi chichi. Planned kid stressing iramuli. But when you're out there and you tell somebody, I need a rest, I'm stressed, they will even tell you to take a month or 2 months off work, because they know what depression is. That is number one. For anybody who is abusing a substance, abuse of a substance is not out of the love or the want. It is 95%, actually 98%, because a person is trying to escape. It is just an escape route.
It's an escape route.
It is nothing to do with until we want. We went to school, we know. So that's just it.
Time is never enough. Mind matters. Thank you, Jackie Chandiru, for coming through this. It has really opened my eyes and my mind. I'm in a very deep thought right now. We hope to have you again. It will be a pleasure.